Hey guys, so I made a video a few weeks ago about Orion. Orion being this new client that came out, I don't know, a couple months ago or something that's become a bit popular in '07, and it's basically this new, yeah, I was gonna say cheating client. It's not against the rules now. It used to be against the rules. And so back in version 1, it was a pure injection client, and yeah, it was really kind of bad at use injection, which is basically it modified the code. So before it's being run, it's already a changed code. It's not the original Jagex code that they sent you, and so that's a modified applet. Um, and so Jacmob, who works at Jagex, also runs his own company on the side, and this contains iris buddy and stuff. And Orion is made by someone who hung around Iris Buddy all the time. He's not actually part of Iris Buddy, although I think he kind of is now. I don't know, but he's kind of merging into Iris Buddy. And so basically there was a version 1 he posted on the Iris Buddy forums, and it was originally supposed to be a hacking client for him and a few friends to just go around and mess around in RuneScape and do whatever shit they were able to do that wasn't possible before. And yeah, this Jacmob saw it. He's like, okay, we can't allow this. I can't allow this. I work for Jagex, hey, whatever. So we can't allow this form of cheating, and to be associated with it in any way. And I guess maybe he would have even banned him. I don't know, but he made him change the code. He made him change it to just not have injection, and so it ended up being a pure reflection client. And reflection is a feature that doesn't exist in my own field, which is in C++. C++ being a programming language, it's native programming language, and in C++ you're not able to do anything like reflection, as at least as reflection is being used in this case, which is to read the memory in runtime of another set of classes being run. And so Java, each file is put into classes, and all these classes are loaded into, in their reflection. It's basically being embedded and loaded into this other program, which is then it can then run that code, all in the same process. And so being all in the same process, it can actually read the memory inside of it, without having to change any of the code in the other program. And this is basically because it's a high level language. It's on another platform. It's built right into the language. And it's something that's just not possible in C or C++. And so basically it wasn't something I could think. So were RuneScape programmed in a native language instead of in Java? What I said in my previous video about Orion, what basically would be true. But because it's programmed in Java, there's a few there's a few exceptions on to exactly what's possible and what isn't possible, and this was one of them. And so they're able to create a reflection client that is able to read inside of the RuneScape client as it's being run. And what this does is it can't modify it. So Jagex through Jacmob, so it goes to Jagex. Jagex and Jacmob have some kind of contract, his business, and then they have another contract. Jacmob has another contract with Matthew, the creator of Orion, and there's a few other people working on it, but Matthew's the only one that can push updates, Matthew. And so yeah, that's basically kind of the relationship there, and any feature that Matthew wants to put forward has to get approved by Jacmob, who then has to get it approved by Jagex. And there's like a few features that are kind of really shaky that like he's tried to put it in and stuff. He's wanted to put in things that like, because the client knows beforehand that your like what your hit's gonna be or something like that, it can do a hit predictor before you actually see it on the screen. And Matthew's originally having that in there, and then Jack and I was like, no, you can't do that. So like he had to change it so that it only does calculations on what an average would be and stuff like that. Anything that any person could figure out on their own stuff. And it's kind of little stuff like that. Like, so Matthew, I don't really see Matthew as really having a full respect of just what cheating is, or like just what is legit and what is not cheating, or what is cheating stuff. Like, he doesn't seem to care that much about it, in my opinion. Um, he would only do it with actual pressure, and kind of that's what it kind of puts me off from Orion. That and also the other people working on it have a history of all the cheating, hacking, etc. Um, and so I don't really find them trustworthy. So that's my personal reason for not ever using it. But yeah, so I'm sticking with this, and I really have no intention of personally ever using Orion. But if you want to, it's not against the rules. It doesn't change anything. It doesn't provide any changes because it's pure reflection and no ejection whatsoever. It can't change anything inside of RuneScape, so it can't change any of your client code. It can't make it do anything it can't normally do. Everything's built in as overlays on top of it. It can read inside of it, but it can't actually change anything inside of it, and that's kind of the key thing to understand, because as long as it doesn't change anything inside of it, it's not modifying the code. It's not modifying the applet, and that makes it fall within the rules. Whereas its previous version, version 1, this is version 2 now. Version 1 did not allow did not have any of that, and so version 1 was basically just an open source hacking client. Really, no respect for the rules right there either. And technically, his own personal client. So he told me this. His own personal client. It is changed. So he's actually got an injected client with his own shit on there that and his developer bills also go against prove things, whatever. And so that's kind of where it's kind of getting shaky ground. So he personally is. So if you're using Orion, then you're not breaking the rules technically. But he personally is actually breaking the rules every time he's developing with Orion. His own personal RuneScape client is a hacked client, but I don't know, they're letting that go by. I don't know. I guess it might be in his contract to allow him to go into to do that. I don't know exactly what's in his contract. I haven't read it, but yeah. So that's kind of what's going on behind the scenes of the whole Iris Buddy, Jacmob, and Matthew thing, and Orion. So yeah, you can use it. But yeah, I've also been using him to ban, so because he's very close with Jacmob now and stuff. I've been using kind of that connection with him to report some agility bots and stuff. So I've gotten a couple of agility bots banned that way. I tell Matthew some names, and then he tells Jacmob, and then Jacmob comes on later and whatever and just bans them. So yeah. Apparently, so something interesting that I've kind of learned is that Jacmob, or some of my jackets, they have this program or something. I don't know exactly what it is, but it can see like the past 3 months. So like they scan your account, and then they can see kind of if you bought it or not. And like this is at least my understanding of it. There's some program they can scan your account and then see if you bought it or not. And I'm just thinking, okay, well, why don't they just scan all of the accounts? And maybe it's a very slow thing and it would take forever to do that. I don't know. But it's just, or maybe they can scan all the reported accounts. But I know I reported people, and nothing goes through. And I don't know, I've still seen some legits get banned, but they seem to be temporary bans. So that kind of makes me think, like, is that like lower certainty? It does a scan of it, and it's not sure if you bought it or if you have bought it, and so it just, because if it's less certain, it'll only give you a temporary ban, but if it's more certain, it'll give you a permanent ban. At least that's my view of it. I don't know. Well, it's really sad if you if you can't play RuneScape and you just don't know if you're gonna get banned accidentally. Oops. It's really kind of dumb. I don't know. But they seem kind of arrogant enough to say that our software never wrong. It's never wrong whatsoever, and it's just like, nah, come on, that is. Just being a programmer myself, you always have problems. You always get bugs. You can never be sure that your program, whatever, is gonna work properly. It's not gonna have any flaws in it that you overlooked or whatever. you gotta know that any developer, any programmer has to know that they're gonna have bugs. It's not gonna work perfectly. So whatever. I know a lot of people gonna ask about have been asking about Bonesaw. What happened with Bonesaw? So Bonesaw was banned, and then unbanned. He was permanently banned, then unbanned, and this is also another thing I'm not happy with. And so what ended up happening was he had botted months ago a lot of his stats. He had botted it. This is what I was told by Matthew through Jacmob, and so they have records of this, and they can see that he botted, like his magic and I think a few other stats, and all the spotted stuff. Apparently, the only reason he got unbanned, so you know it's okay. So he had all this, and they banned him. The only reason he got unbanned was because he kept appealing maybe to a few friends or something, I don't know, and got contact with Jax and whatever, and he got unbanned because basically he had already served his sentence. That's how they view it. So he had been banned months ago for 1 week, and so there was a temporary ban for 1 week for all of his previous botting, which there was a significant amount of, and so he had been banned for that, and so I guess the argument was because he had served his sentence already, that he would be allowed to come play RuneScape again because he had already served his sentence, and so let's unban him. And I'm just like, I'm thinking when I heard this, okay, well he should have been permanently banned in the first place. You botted this much, anyways, you bot, you get banned. You don't get a temporary ban. You don't get any of that bullshit. You just get a permanent ban. And yeah, so that's basically how he managed to get by that, and that's how he got unbanned. And he's got his own connections with Jagex, and yeah. Um, so that's this video. If you want other videos about like what's kind of going on behind the scenes and stuff, like just in the RuneScape community, top players, maybe the agility community, want to listen about what happened in my own history. There's a whole bunch of history stuff I can talk about with the agility community. Zafa, top overall. I've got years of history I can talk about. But if you like that kind of stuff, hit like. If you want more of these videos, subscribe, etc.